Last year, 12 Republicans joined Democrats to pass the Infant Formula Supplemental Appropriations Act to give the FDA funding to address and prevent formula shortages. For the other 192 lawmakers who voted no and are wondering why the FDA couldn't do more, you should put your money where your mouth is. I know that some of my colleagues today, probably on both sides of the aisle, will be chomping at the bit to bash a federal agency. That's not where I am. Discrediting an agency without figuring out what went wrong and how to fix it is simply malpractice. But I'm not afraid to say that the FDA has a lot of work to do, no matter who that offends. Today, I want to focus on answering this question. If a big infant formula company like Abbott had a bacterial contamination today, would the whole formula market be at risk again? And to answer that question, we need to know exactly how equipped the FDA is to be in the prevention business now that we've weathered the 2022 crisis. Today, if the FDA received a whistleblower complaint about contamination, would it take 4 months, as it did then, to get to the deputy commissioner's desk? And over the last year, have we done enough to give the FDA the authorities and resources it truly needs to be proactive about preventing supply shocks in critical food markets? A strong FDA must have the authority to know what's going on in production between inspections. And a strong FDA must be able to review present and past testing data to help it make decisions. Even with the best structure, leadership, and resources, the FDA is only as well equipped as its legal authorities allow it to be. An improved FDA is going to take some work, and it's not on any one person that we can fire or blame. This is a complex issue that's going to take real work to solve. Now, as much as I'm dedicated to solving the FDA part of the puzzle, we wouldn't be doing our job if we said that that is the only issue in the formula crisis. Ultimately, formula manufacturers are responsible for producing safe products. They have very few incentives to self-regulate when they are so powerful, but that doesn't mean we can let Abbott off the hook for its negligent behavior. Last year, committee Democrats launched an investigation into Abbott's negligence that Republicans, sadly for me, declined to join. This needs to change. This is partially an FDA problem, but it is also partially a big business problem. And Republicans and Democrats can't pick and choose who to hold accountable. What's more, we have to stop turning a blind eye to consolidation in our food markets. Abbott is one of 3 companies that control 90% of the formula market. If something goes wrong in one factory, there aren't many other options to turn to. That doesn't make for resilient markets. By diversifying supply, competitive markets could cure many of the formula shortage risks. So, Mr. Yanis, let's say that a major formula manufacturer, and there are only a handful, as you know, finds bacteria in their supply today. Does the law say the factory has to tell the FDA?
The answer to that is no, other than the Abbott Sturgis facility, which, as you know, is under consent decree.
So I think this is really important that everyone hear this. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Let's say that a major formula manufacturer, a factory, found bacteria in their supply today. Does the law require them to tell the FDA?
The answer is no. They should, but they're not required by law.
But surely the FDA is now keeping a close eye on supply so that they're ready for any disruption. What resources and authorities are now in place for the FDA, even though they have no requirement that anyone tell them, but should the FDA learn, what are the resources available for the FDA to do supply monitoring?
That's an area of the program that needs further development.
The truth is, nobody gets a pass today. Yes, the FDA it must do better. It could have been faster. It could have been more adept in anticipating the formula crisis. It could have been more thorough in its after-action review and learning from the mistakes. But so there's no pass for the FDA here. Lawmakers, though, also have to do better by providing the FDA with the resources and authorities that they are telling us they need in order to get the results the American people deserve. So no pass for government. What's more, big businesses can do better. Regardless of who's looking over their shoulder, it is their job to produce safe, quality products. That's the cost of doing business in food. Abbott engaged in negligent behavior, full stop. It prompted a formula recall, it put Americans at risk, and it undermined the stability of the formula market. So no pass for big businesses. And finally, even with shortcomings from the government and from industry, we wouldn't be here today talking about supply shortages if baby formula were sold in the strong competitive marketplace. For too long, Washington has allowed markets to consolidate, domestic manufacturers to offshore, and critical infrastructure, including regulators, to crumble. Luckily, the Biden administration has done a great deal in the last year to respond to disruptions and invest in our supply chains and to enforce competition policy. They're thinking toward the future. That's what our committee is doing here today. And I think that's the mindset that Washington at large needs to have, so we never have to wonder if infant formula will be available for anyone or what other critical food may face a shortage from contamination or other health risks. So no pass today for Washington, no pass today for manufacturers, no pass here for anyone except, I think, the professional and helpful suggestions from both of our witnesses. So I'm eager to take what we've learned at the hearing today, strengthen the FDA, hold big business accountable, and focus on policy solutions. I yield back and again thank the chairwoman for this hearing.